Jackie Robinson is, without a doubt, a veritable American legend. In the context of extreme racial tensions and difficulties for colored people in the United States of the 1940s, Robinson is remembered for his athletic achievement as the first African American to play in Major League Baseball. He was also a fierce civil rights activist advocating for integration and racial equality, and became a prominent public icon for the civil rights movement. His legacy lives on even today, resonating still in the effort for fairness and justice for people of all colors. Jackie Roosevelt Robinson was born on January 31, 1919, on a plantation near Cairo, Georgia. His middle name honors Theodore Roosevelt, who had spoken out against racism and served as an inspiration to many African Americans. He was the fifth and youngest child of Mally and Jerry Robinson, who worked on a plantation as tenant workers. While Robinson's roots are in the Georgian South, his family moved to Pasadena, California, joining the small black population in a largely white neighborhood. His mother supported the family by working as a maid, yet the family lived in relative poverty. In this environment, Jackie was often subject to torment based on his economic and racial status, but would not allow anyone to pick on him or his family. He learned to respect himself, demand respect from others, and never back down. He attended John Muir High School, where he excelled in many sports, among them football, basketball, track, and baseball, and continued these sports as he enrolled at Pasadena Junior College. He pursued higher education at the University of California in Los Angeles, becoming the university's first student to win varsity letters in 4 sports. However, in 1941, Jackie was forced to leave UCLA before he graduated. Robinson left school and was promptly drafted into the United States Army. From 1942 to 1944, Robinson served as a second lieutenant, heading a tank platoon but never seeing combat. All the while, with an insurgence of African Americans being accepted into the military, there was also a blatant amount of racism and discrimination, and the Jim Crow laws were very much still in force. In July of 1944, Robinson was arrested and court-martialed for refusing to move to the back of a segregated bus. He was later acquitted and honorably discharged, leaving the Army in 1944 to play professional baseball. There is much debate over the reason for his acquittal. It is speculated that the military acquitted Robinson because he went to the NAACP to broadcast the racially contrived and unjust charges against him, for which the Army feared negative backlash. The discriminatory nature of this court-martial marked the precedent for Robinson's later involvement in the American Civil Rights Movement.
Since its early roots in the middle of the 19th century, baseball has always mirrored America's culture. The admiration for fair competition, athleticism, bravery, and wit. But America's pastime also mirrored the society's racism and segregation of African Americans across all extents of society. When baseball switched from an amateur sport into a professional one in the late 1800s, it was common for most minor league teams to carry 1 or 2 black players. But as baseball continued to develop, it was clear that an unwritten agreement between most leagues began to prevent black players from being accepted. And by 1899, there was only 1 African American playing any professional baseball at all. Whites and black would not take the field together again until 1946. Some historians point out that it was possible that some black players indeed played during this period, under the assumption that they were of Hispanic or Native descent. Because of this gentleman's agreement to ban African Americans, it led to the creation of all black leagues in the 1920s and 30s, known as the Negro Major Leagues. It was in the Negro American League that Jackie Robinson made his debut in 1945 for the Kansas City Monarchs, where he played 47 games and hit a fantastic .387 batting average. However, Robinson's stint in the Negro Leagues did not last. He was unhappy with how disorganized and hectic the league schedule was. He wanted to move on to the majors, where he could earn much more money and prove to himself and others that he could play in the best league in the world. That opportunity arose in the spring of 1946, when the president of the Brooklyn Dodgers, Branch Rickey, decided to sign him to a minor league contract with the Montreal Royals of the International League. The color barrier in professional baseball was broken, and it was only a matter of time until the major leagues would do it as well. Jackie Robinson was not considered the best Negro League player of his time. Although he was extremely good, this was not the only reason for his signing. In the end, it was his off-the-field conduct that convinced Rickey that Robinson was the right guy to sign. Robinson attended university. He was an Army veteran, he did not drink or smoke, and was also a devout Christian. Rickey saw him as the right man, someone who could hold back his anger and handle the racism and hatred that he would encounter. Rickey made Robinson promise that if he was to be signed, Robinson could not fight back as long as he played for him. Jackie Robinson's rookie season in the International League was a success. He was well received by the Canadian fans, quickly becoming one of the most popular players. That first year, he led the International League both in batting average and runs scored, and helped the Montreal Monarchs win the championship. His outstanding and quick adaptation to the league allowed Ranch Rickey to call him up to the majors before the next season began. Finally, on April 15, 1947, Jackie Robinson broke the Major League's color barrier, starting in second base for the Brooklyn Dodgers, allowing him to become the first acknowledged African American to play in the major leagues in almost 50 years of racial segregation. Jackie Robinson did not disappoint on the field. That first year, he earned the league's inaugural Rookie of the Year award and led the leagues in stolen bases. Most historians believe that without his early success, integration would have been seen as a failure, although some argue that this success actually eased the pressure from other teams to integrate. While Robinson's transition was indeed a success, it was by no means easy. He was constantly heckled and harassed by both players and fans, and was the recipient of constant death threats. Robinson still continued to be segregated in many other ways though. He had different accommodations than the rest of his teammates, staying in different hotels and traveling on different buses. During his first year, there were many occasions when teams threatened to hold out of games if Robinson was allowed to play, and there were even moments of tension amongst his own teammates. But these tensions were reduced as more and more African Americans entered the league. The 1949 season was a huge improvement for him, winning the National League's Most Valuable Player award for the first time, and being amongst the first black players to be chosen for the All-Star game. That same year, Robinson made his return to his home state of Georgia in an exhibition game against the Atlanta Crackers. This game was met with great opposition from the Ku Klux Klansmen, who vowed not to let the game take place. Nevertheless, Robinson was met by a very enthusiastic crowd of 25,000 spectators, many of which were African Americans trying to see their hometown hero play. Robinson continued to enjoy great success in the majors. He helped the Dodgers become one of the most dominant and consistent teams in the league, leading them to 7 National League pennants during his 10-year career, including their championship win in 1955. Jackie Robinson himself was selected for 6 All-Star games during a career that was unfortunately slowed down by diabetes. His legacy as the first African American to break the color barrier was nevertheless immortalized in the baseball world by his enshrinement into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962.
While Jackie Robinson could not be actively involved in the civil rights movement before his retirement, he dedicated the rest of his post-baseball life to the cause. He became a fervent supporter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, acting as a fundraiser and as a spokesperson for the organization. He held a position on the NAACP's board up until 1967, chairing the Freedom Fund drive and raising millions of dollars to promote the end of racial discrimination and segregation. Robinson continued to advocate for civil rights on a personal level. For every president in office from 1956 to 1972, Robinson sent letters criticizing and reprimanding their lack of effort in the promotion of civil rights. He later became a supporter and good friend of Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most distinct figures of the American civil rights movement. Robinson led campaigns in Albany and Birmingham on King's behalf and appeared alongside him on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 1963 for the March on Washington. In an effort to provide social support for African Americans, he established a Freedom National Bank in Harlem, a financial institution that would benefit the black population who still saw discrimination in other banks. It was, at the time, the largest black-owned and operated business in New York State. While Robinson had a significant impact on the civil rights movement, his athletic achievements did not go unnoticed. In 1962, Robinson was the first African American baseball player to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and in 1972, the Brooklyn Dodgers retired his uniform number of 42. He met his untimely death at the age of 56 due to heart problems and diabetes complications, passing away on October 24, 1972. He is survived by his wife Rachel and his children Jackie Jr., Sharon, and David, and of course, his legacy. He is remembered today as the man who destroyed socially enforced color barriers in Major League Baseball and has become an icon for racial equality and the rights of all citizens. Robinson's life experiences fueled his passion for equality and social action, underlined by his deep religious beliefs advocating freedom and justice. He is commemorated every April 15th on Jackie Robinson Day, where the number 42 jersey is worn to honor the legend himself.